No, I want to go, welcome to the Blunt and the Beautiful, where society comes to be dissected.
Don't hit the C on comes like that.
Welcome to the Blunt and the Beautiful, where I discuss everything that interests me and everything that should interest you with my beautiful daughter, Tansy.
And I listen and tell her when she's wrong.
Hello and welcome to the Blunt and the Beautiful. I'm here with my beautiful daughter, Tansy.
Hello.
And I'm here with a special guest, Eden
Hello.
Judd. How are you, Eden?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
That's all right. That's all right. Now, Eden reached out to me via the DMs.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
And you were talking to me about your journey through pregnancy and then having a baby.
Yeah.
And I found it really fascinating because I have suffered prenatal and postnatal depression,
Mm-hmm.
and it is not talked about enough.
No, it's definitely not.
I have a lot of women who follow me who message me about these things, women who have really struggled, that I have spent time in my DMs having a chat to them and trying to get them to, you know, go to the GP, go back to the psychiatrist, do those things. Now, I think for many people, having a baby is meant to be the happiest time in your life.
Yeah.
But for many women, more than I think we actually understand, it is a very vulnerable time.
100%.
And
Yeah.
1 in 5 new mothers experience postnatal depression or anxiety, and the systems that are supposed to support them often fail. So I think it's important that we talk about both of those things. And I want to introduce you properly. Eden is a former police officer, a mother who has fought her way back from postpartum anxiety and depression, a bipolar 2 diagnosis, and now you are in the blessed state again. You are pregnant again.
I am number 2. Yes.
How far along are you?
I'm 12 weeks this week. So
Right.
yeah.
How's the old head? How's the mental health?
It's been, because it was IVF, like that was rough.
Mhm.
5 years ago, we did IVF again. I had a miscarriage and that just kind of completely broke me. So we were kind of like, okay, that's it. We won't do it again. And then I just kind of tried to like squash it down. I was like, I don't want another one. Like just kind of a way to deal with it, I suppose. And then just seeing like everyone else around us and like Savannah's friends having siblings, and she really wanted a sibling. I was like, oh, we'll do it again. And it was, a rough journey this year, but we finally had success. So I think like it's been good, but I have had like a couple of weeks there. I reckon like early, maybe 6 or 7 weeks, where I really noticed I started to get quite low really quickly. And I see my psychiatrist every 3 weeks. Like he's really amazing. So I just kind of like I upped my antidepressant just for a few weeks and just to get through that. And now I've been able to drop it back down. I feel really good again. So
You can't take a mood stabilizer when you're pregnant.
no, you
can
can't. I think that like there's so many things that can
Mm.
interfere with the
Yeah.
growth and stuff. So I was a bit worried, but like we went in before we even started IVF and I told my psychiatrist, this is what I'm planning to do. And he said, okay, let's get you on the right meds that you can be on the whole way. And then, we did that. And I was like, okay, like I'm coping. So I felt a lot more able to cope.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. And you know, I mean, one of the things about any mental health diagnosis is you have to have a high level of self-reflection. You have to be able to go, what is your trigger?
Yeah.
Whether it's pain, whether it's depression, anxiety, bipolar, you know, if you can have that self-reflection. So for you, you know, there is a shadow side of having a baby, and we are fed this Instagram, you know, perfect baby, perfect life kind of thing.
Yeah.
At your lowest, you checked yourself into a mother-baby unit because you were having thoughts that terrified you and your anxiety was out of control.
Yeah.
So when you were pregnant the first time, how did you have any perinatal anxiety or depression?
I've always suffered from anxiety, and I'm probably looking back now, probably some depression definitely as well. But like, I was just like, oh, you know, like my anxiety is just how it usually is. And then I had like a traumatic birth. And then once I eventually got home, it was just like the anxiety never used to affect sleep. And then once I couldn't sleep, I was like, okay, this is really bad. And my mum came around one day and she was like, you're really not well. Let's take you back up to the hospital. I think Savannah was only 2 weeks old at that point. And they just like admitted me for a couple of nights just to help me out. But then it was like, okay, out you go again. And then like I've noticed there's just this big fear of reaching out for help because there's that fear of someone taking your baby. And that was something I faced. Like I was reached out to a nurse, pediatric nurse, and was just, I think he was checking in. And I said, like, I've been to the doctor. He's given me, I think it was Seroquel to sleep. But it was beyond, like I couldn't even sleep on that.
Yeah.
And then he's flagged me for taking medication. And then they've like called me and said, just drop your baby off to the hospital. You don't need to come. And I was in such a bad state that I was like, oh, cool. Someone's just going to give me a break. And then my mum was like, do not take her up there. Like they'll take her off you.
Yeah.
And it was so stressful because I was like, just been through like a traumatic birth, not sleeping. The GP's tried to help me. The meds aren't working.
Yeah.
And then I just like, my husband went back to work just before she was 3 months old. And I just had like, he'd done some overtime and he was sitting in his car in the garage eating some Maccas. And that was like the breaking point for me. I was just like, I can't cope anymore.
Yeah.
So I just reached out to the mother baby unit and they got me in really quick. So.
And I think it's that thing that people don't realise, and for anyone who is at home who is going through this, because I know there will be women feeling like this, there is a point where your GP can't help.
Yeah.
There is a point where Seroquel's not going to cut it. You're going to need a olanzapine, or you're going to need a clonidine or something, I'm
some
not a doctor. Yeah, something that is going to give you that deep sleep.
Yeah.
You're also going to need someone who's obviously GPs are very well trained, accredited, they're doctors, blah, blah, but someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Particularly around the stresses that you're facing. I think it's great that your mum knows you well enough to be like, something's wrong. I think for a lot of women kind of in that postnatal space, because everything's so different and everything's so new and everyone's so tired.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, oh, I didn't see it in her because I thought, it's stressful for everyone.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, well, she's catatonic. Then that's different.
Yeah. So when you had the anxiety, what did that look like for you? Because anxiety presents in many different ways. And, people mistake OCD with an OCPD. You can have a personality disorder that can be triggered and then you can worry about everything and check everything, or there's just general anxiety that either you're going to hurt your baby, someone's going to hurt your baby. There can be such dysregulated thoughts. How did that look for you?
Like when I came home for the first week, I'm a very routine, rigid follower of like, okay, I do the same thing at the same time. And I got her home and I was like, I'm going to get her into a routine I was obsessed with like, she has to be a good sleeper because I'm like obsessed with sleep. So then it just turned like I got down to the point where I was 40 kilos because I wasn't eating. I looked really unwell. Like I looked anorexic and every morning I'd look in the mirror and I'd like cry because I'm like, this is not me.
Yeah.
Like I didn't recognize who I was. I couldn't eat. But I just thought like I'm just like doing the motions of looking after her. I think it was like 2.5 weeks in, she was just screaming and screaming. And I was just like to my husband, I want to give her formula, but I'm like, I'm scared of being judged for giving her formula.
Oh, fed is best, baby.
Yeah. And then like, I think it was like the middle of the night or something, and he went out and bought a tin of formula and I gave it to her and she was just a different baby. She like slept through from 10 weeks.
Because you wouldn't have had very good quality milk if you were really anxious.
It was like water because I was overproducing. I had mastitis twice in the first 2 weeks. So I was dealing with that as well. But it was just like water. There was because I wasn't feeding myself. So there would have been no nutritional value to it.
Yeah, and I'm fascinated. It's interesting. In my mother's group, there was one woman who was so super judgy and I thought, you're a fucking mole. But then I looked back, she ended up being the one who went to the mother baby unit because I realised she was projecting her anxiety on everyone and kind of really made me go, oh, God, you don't know what everyone's going through. I mean, I was 25 at the time, so I had no idea about mental health shit. But you don't kind of get it, I saw a girl the other night who had had a baby and she had a night nurse. And all these people going, oh, in fact, you don't want to get up to your baby. And she goes, I've got bipolar 1. If I don't sleep, neither me nor my baby will be here. So it's really important I have a night nurse.
And I've seen it, like I've seen comments of that, and I said to my husband, like, this time I would actually pay someone just to come in once or twice a week in the early weeks to give me some sleep. But it is so judgmental. It's like, oh, you don't want to look after your baby. But it's like, you need to look after your mental health to then look after your baby.
Can I ask you both? I'm not a mother. Where does this judgment come from? Why does it exist? Why is it not something that is like community minded and rather is competitive?
I think it's a female competition.
Yeah, it's just so nasty and so judgmental. It's like, I feel like some women are like, well, I don't have any help, so you shouldn't have help.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. I mean, I think it's also this false promise of what we see online about what mothering is like. You know, for me, I mean, I will say this to you, your second baby, it just clicks and you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I had a 5.5-year gap with these two. And I remember he was home from the hospital. I was cooking something in the kitchen. Tans was there. He started yapping in the other room. Dave went, oh, Spike's awake. And I went, hang on. No, that's a fake cry. Leave him. And I just kind of knew with my second. It was so much easier. Like it was like an instinct had kicked in. So when you went to the mother-baby unit, you were there for 6 weeks. Talk to us about that, because I think that people think it's a scary place, but it can be a very nurturing, caring place.
Yeah, like when I got there, like I was only sleeping 1 hour out of 24 hours because I just lay there. I just couldn't sleep.
Right.
So I got there and they were like, I think as soon as I got there, I was there and I remember it was like you walk in and it's like glass doors out into a lounge room and there was a mum there like in the fetal position screaming. So that was, I was kind of like,
what a welcome.
Okay, yeah, I was like, okay, like what am I in for here? Like I was a bit scared because I had no idea what I was going in for. But they were lovely. Like they took me to my room. I just said to them like, I'm not going to have my daughter in my room with me because at home we have separate rooms. That's how we function at home best. So they had like a room that was a storage room of cots and they said she can sleep in there. So that made me feel better.
I was like, pop her in the cupboard. Yeah, Tansy was in the cupboard. She was such a noisy baby.
Yeah, Savannah was so noisy in the start. So she was amazing once she had her own room. They got me settled and then they made me see like a doctor and then a psychiatrist came in. They take like all your bloods.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we're going to give you sleeping tablets for the first, I think, like minimum 3 nights.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've tried them all. I'm telling you, like, they don't work. And they're like, no, these ones are good.
These are the real deal, babes.
These are the super ones.
Put you down for a minute.
And they did. I took them and I woke up and I was like, wow, that's the first night I've slept in over 3 months. Like, I needed that. And then I was put on oxazepam, I think, 3 times a day.
Right.
And that kind of put me in a false sense of, oh, I'm actually okay. Like, I'm not anxious anymore. But it was, because I was on so much medication.
And it's a process over those 6 weeks.
It's such a process,
Because they're going to get you to the point, because you can't actually heal without sleep. People don't understand that. And
Absolutely.
You can't heal and you can't be therapized if you aren't in a clear place to process it.
Yeah, you don't have the cognitive processing nor the resilience.
You don't even know what day it is, what's going on.
No
sleep.
So you had rest.
Yeah.
Started to do connection again with yourself first and foremost, then with Savannah, I guess. Did you do groups or did you have therapy?
So you have to do group every day. They'll get you every morning. They would do like a welcome group where you would sing to your baby in the morning. And I found that really hard because I'm like, I'm not used to this. And I thought it was a bit wanky when I first.
So good.
And then I was like, because they're like, we can see there's just no connection with your daughter. Like I didn't talk to her. I didn't sing to her. I didn't do anything. I was just functioning. And then they would like film me without me knowing, like interacting with her on the couch. And that was really emotional, I think, to watch back because I was like, I just had no idea that I had no connection.
You were doing all the things, but there was nothing.
Yeah, there was
behind
just
it.
mentally not much there. So yeah, they do this thing called, I think it's the Circle of Security. It's a course that they make you do over the 6 weeks of learning like just stuff about just yourself, about your baby, about like the importance of connection.
Yeah.
And that was like really hard, I think, because I was just like, I wasn't used to knowing that I had to do all these things that I wasn't doing.
And that's kind of for them where the eye contact and
Yeah.
the language
Yeah.
connections and I was borderline catatonic with her, with Tansy, and it was my husband came home one day and looked at me and said, "You need to go to the doctor. I've called her. She's waiting for you." And I was like, "Oh, cool." You know, I wasn't where you were, but I had terrible PTSD from the birth.
Yeah.
And depression.
Mm.
And I think that there's this aspect of going back to your question, Tans, where does this come from? I think there is an aspect of people assuming you have to be stoic and resilient.
Yeah.
And particularly for women. So I've had a couple of women reach out who had postpartum psychosis.
Yeah, that would be really scary.
It is really scary. And it's something that I'm quite passionate about, that, you know, when you see a woman who has murdered her children in a psychosis or taken her own life as well, and people go, "What a fucking bitch." And I'm like, do you know how unwell you have to be to do that?
100%.
Goes against every instinct you have, in your body.
Yeah.
I can't judge those women.
I can't either.
I cannot judge them. And the point is that a lot of women end up suiciding when they feel like this because they think they are going to hurt their baby.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of so many factors. And, you know, when you come into a hospital and you see a woman in fetal position screaming, you go, shit must be fucking horrendous for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It must be absolutely horrendous. So your sort of community of friends and family, did you feel judged at all? Or I've got croissant on my cup. Did you feel judged at all? Or?
Yeah, there's one particular person that it's stuck with me because it really hurt me. I had someone that I thought was a friend at the time, and I texted her and said, "I'm going into the mother baby unit and I'm really upset." And she's like, "Well, you're the one that wanted to go there."
Oh.
And I was like,
you're taking a little holiday? Yeah, like you fucked off to Hayman Island with her.
What the fuck do you mean? I'm not going there because I want to go there. I'm going there because if I don't, I'll end up killing myself or harming my child. I don't have a choice. And then I feel like, because I'm so open with my mental health, I feel like a lot of people are like, "Ooh, that's too much."
Well, it's projection. They don't want to know. Like, people are all more than happy to hear about your diabetes, but they don't want to hear about your depression and, you know, you and I spoke on the weekend on the phone, and one of the things I said is that you need to recognize that you have a chronic illness.
Yeah. This is what I was about to say. People are uncomfortable with any sort of chronic illness or chronic condition that creates a specific way you have to live your life, right? Even though they don't want you to necessarily be spontaneous and to fuck off on a little holiday with them. They don't need that from you. But the idea that you have these limitations and boundaries really freaks people out, I feel like. It's a very interesting thing kind of psychologically.
And also if you begin to put boundaries around that because you know what triggers your mental health. So, you know, if you're a sleep addict because you have bipolar and you know how important sleep is for that, and it's all about that circadian regulation.
Yeah.
Because bipolar is a biological illness.
Yeah.
It is the same as having epilepsy. It's the same as having diabetes. So your hormones and biology would have been absolutely fucking whack when you went into hospital. Also, no nourishment because you were 40 kilos.
Yeah.
Probably dehydrated.
Yeah.
Like,
I
absolutely.
was grey. I was completely grey.
Hot.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Grey is the new tan.
Yeah, that's amazing. What did that kind of journey over the 6 weeks look like? Where did you get to the end? Did you feel that connection with Savannah? Did you have moments of the glimpses?
So my family would come visit. Like, Sam was working, so he would literally get up, go to work, come to the mother baby unit, drive all the way home because he was working an hour away from home, do the same thing. And he's very introverted, does not talk about personal stuff. So I feel like it would have been really hard for him because he had people were trying to check in, like a few ladies from work, like older ladies that had kids, I think. So they kind of knew. But he was just doing what he had to do. And then I was in there and my family would come visit. And I think it was very hard for them to see me like that. And they're kind of like, I remember my dad being like, you just need to hurry up and get well and get out of here. And then my husband was like, no, she's going to stay for however long she needs to stay. Like I knew it was coming from a place of love. Like he wanted me to get home and be well. But at the same time, I was like, I can't
I have
go
to finish
home.
my treatment.
Yeah, I can't rush this.
No,
because
it's like
sense.
I'd never been on any medication. They put me on sertraline, and it was like they're like, we're warning you, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And they weren't lying. Like
No.
I was going outside, like having panic attacks, and I'd like a few times I'm like, you need to take Savannah off me because I'm about to have like a meltdown type of thing. But once it kicked in, it was like, oh, like I can sleep again. Like, and they sent me home with oxazepam, and then like I would use that if I needed it just to kick my sleep back in until it all linked back together again.
Yeah, that's a really lovely way of putting it. It all links back because it is a rhythm. It is
absolutely
a thing. So then you went back to work. You were doing day shifts. That was tickety boo. And then you did night shifts. And then what happened?
Yeah, so when I went back to work, she was nearly 1, and I went back just 5 days a fortnight, and I just said I have to do either 6 a.m., 8 a.m. or they're the only 2 shifts I can do because my sleep is so important to me. And they were really good about it. And then I think once I didn't end up leaving that station until we tried IVF again. Actually, oh no, sorry, I did leave before then. It's all like a blur.
Yeah, fair enough.
It all blows into one. Yeah, I did. I think I left it about in 2020, and the boss there was like, you can come work here because it was just a little tiny station, like 6 of us.
Yeah.
But he said you have to do twilight shifts, which is like 6 p.m. till 2 a.m.
Oh, no, chef.
And then I was like,
would we consider that twilight? Fucking hell.
Yeah, and then I was kind of like, I'll agree to it once a month, should be fine. And I did it once, and it just unraveled from there. And then I was like, I think there's something more going on here. I think it's bipolar. And then I reached out to the psychiatrist, and I had gotten into a very deep depression at that point as well. So I took time off work, like unpaid from work. And he's like, we're going to admit you into the psych ward to get you some TMS for 2 weeks and change your meds. And I was like, yeah, that's what I need to do. So the second time I wasn't as scared because I was like, I've done this before.
So explain what TMS is to the uninitiated.
So
magnetic.
Transcranial magnetic stimulation. So they like map your brain out and figure out which parts of the brain are being affected by depression. And then it's like this, it feels like a screw just taps on your head for about 20 minutes per session. And apparently it targets the depression.
And you're not in you're not under an anesthetic? You're just...
No, like you're awake. I would go twice a day. They would call me down into their area and you just sit in a chair and they put the thing on your head and it would just tap away for 20 minutes.
Did you just have to sit there? Do you have to like watch a movie or anything?
I'd just put like headphones in because it was like this big awkward thing on top of your head. Constantly just tapping you in the head. So I had that for 2 weeks straight, 2 times a day.
And it helped?
Yeah, it helped. But then it got to a point where they're like, you can do management. So I think I was doing it once a week, but it ended up making me hypomanic in the end. So I had to stop doing it. Yeah, the maintenance sessions, because I was doing it over like years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to stop.
How did it feel to get the bipolar diagnosis? Did it feel kind of like a freeing explanation of things or confronting?
I knew that that's what it was. And I was like, this is like, it's something more than just depression and anxiety. It's like people don't react like this to working a night shift. Like you just go home, get sleep and you're good again. Not go into deep depressions and stuff like that. So I felt like I was like, okay, I've got an answer now. We can get some medication happening to help that as well. So I feel like I didn't want to tell anyone other than family that I had bipolar because it's such a judgmental illness.
It's so stigmatized, strangely, bipolar, but it is, as you said, a biological disease and it's also quite manageable. It just takes a lot of work.
You can live a really normal life. You just, it's not fucking Silver Linings Playbook where you're in
running in your rubbish bag.
knowledge bag. No, it's just this kind of idea of what we think bipolar is, but
yeah.
it is not that. You can live an incredibly normal life, but you have to have really strong boundaries. And I put it to you, Miss Judd, I think a lot of people with bipolar probably didn't have great boundaries before the diagnosis. I think they're overgivers. They want to try and make everyone happy all the time.
Yeah, I've grown up, like I got bullied a lot in high school and even into adulthood, and it's made me like just a people pleaser, but like, and I find just even now I'll unpack things with my husband a lot, and he'll just be like, why do you care so much about what people think and that? And I'm like, I can't help it. It's just this anxiety that I get that, like, especially having a child with needs, like I feel like I'm being judged by the specialists. I feel like I'm being judged by everyone thinks they know what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And you're just trying your best.
But no one knows your child better than you.
Yeah.
And that's something that is really important. Savannah obviously has autism.
Yeah, and ADHD.
And ADHD.
And PDA.
Okay, great.
Yes, it's a good bag.
And she's got a whole lot of abbreviations. But she is also a gorgeous kid who has a lot of love and is
very happy, very
chatty,
confident,
very blunt.
Very confident. Yep.
Good girl after my heart. And for you, it is that thing of knowing your child, that people might think they know what's best for you to do with her, but they don't know her like you do. And as a 110-year-old woman, I will tell you this for free. I actually gave a speech at the Royal Children's Hospital to new emerging doctors that I was asked by Tansy's pediatrician to talk about why they need to listen to mothers.
Yeah.
Because if your daughter keeps coming in with a particular illness, and there was a case recently of a child with Down syndrome in Melbourne who kept going to the hospital and they kept sending her home, and the child died of sepsis. And the mother knew that child better than anyone, and they didn't listen. So I want you to be remember that you know Savannah better than anyone.
Yeah.
You can take that advice and then do a version of it that works for her.
Yeah.
So that's very important. The other thing I want to say to you right now, look, I'm doing therapy, is no one's thinking about you.
Yeah.
That's the fucking shocking thing.
Yeah.
No one is thinking about you. And if they are, they're projecting their own shit onto you.
Yeah.
If you had a new mum coming in here today who was struggling, what is the thing that you would say to her from your sort of learning?
I'd say, like, no, you don't need to love every second of it. And I've just, even on TikTok, there's a lot of women on there who are quite popular, and they're like having babies through IVF. And I feel like the pressure, even if your baby's not IVF, the pressure there to love it is huge. But then there's this extra layer of I've been through all this, so I should love every second of this. And I see all these women on TikTok, and I'm like, it's clear to me that they're struggling, but they're a public figure and they're on there and they're like, oh, but I'm really loving it. It's like, but you're actually not. I can see it. It's so obvious.
It's some of it's shit ass.
Yeah. And I'm like, who gives a fuck if you give your kid formula or breast milk?
No one cares. If I never have to see a lunchbox and a reader again,
yeah,
that was like
she fucking hated that part.
I hated the readers. I've
stopped doing readers because the demand it puts on her and the meltdown. I've just told the teachers she can read really well. I'm not stressed. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and I would just get her to read signs. Tell me what's
that one?
Lonsdale Street.
Yep, I can read.
Fucking hell.
Tick for you.
Eden, I have a question for you. If you had if people listening have a new mother in their lives as well, who could be struggling or just dealing with early motherhood, which is a struggle in and of itself, even without complications, what advice would you give for people to support the people around them?
This is something I find really hard. Like, even knowing I'm going to go through it again, I find it hard that a lot of people have to ask for help. Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know whether people...
Where's the village? Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm like, do people just not want to overstep and they're too scared to just turn up with a meal? But then it's like, I feel like, especially if you've been through mental health and you've seen someone struggle, I feel like you should just be like, okay, I'm going to be there for you next time and I'm going to do this for you. But then it's also like, please don't overwhelm me at the same time. Like, if you've been through something as well, I'm just like, I don't want people to be like stressing the nth degree about me. I want people to have faith that I've got it as well. There's a lot of emotions. I don't know how to explain
No, it's
it.
very
But
complicated.
You have
It's
to
so
ask the
complicated.
second time. I asked the second time to my best girlfriend who didn't have kids. She said, "What can I do?" And I said, "I had a cesarean the second time." I
Yeah.
said, "If you could possibly bring me a dinner and hang my washing out, I'd
Yeah.
be your best friend."
Yeah.
And she went, "Fuck yeah." And came over, had a little cheeky coffee and a chat, and she held Spike and off
Yeah.
she went. I had another friend who would pick her up from school sometimes.
Oh, that's lovely.
Like,
Yeah.
but I had to ask. That's the thing.
I feel like I'm being a burden though. That's something I really struggle with is asking.
But that's
for
the
help.
people pleaser part of it.
It is.
I don't like asking for help a lot of the time either.
Yeah.
Just as my personality.
Yeah, that is me.
Because I'm like, oh, they're going to think I'm annoying. You don't count. I'll ask you to do anything.
Yeah, I'm going to be so annoying when she has a baby.
Oh my God. Mum met my partner's parents recently, and then immediately the mothers started being like, and then we'll come over and then we'll stay and then we'll look after. And I was like, looking at my partner being like, oh, fuck me. Okay, it's beautiful. It takes the village.
Yeah, but I had help on my first 6 weeks with you. I had my mum come
Of
over all the
course.
time.
And she was
then
a
one day
nurse.
she said, "I'm not coming over today." And I went, "I have to do it alone. What do you mean?" I think one of the biggest things that I've seen and in my research around this is with some of the terrible stories of women who have, suicided or hurt themselves or their babies, is the lack of embedding mental health into prenatal and postnatal care.
Yeah.
And I think that, women leave hospitals on, with breastfeeding support and how to clean their episiotomy and Caesar stitches, and they don't get anything around, if you're feeling funky, you got to call this number.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the hospitals who are kind of doing it, the rates of postnatal depression and postnatal psychosis are so low. Singapore and the Netherlands have the lowest.
Yeah, I've seen especially in Asian countries, the care they give to mothers there is just next level.
Absolutely, the rest and recuperation
Yeah,
and
it's
nourishment
amazing.
stuff.
So
It's
they have
amazing.
screening for depression and severe anxiety is integrated into all of your obstetric care at both pregnancy and a postpartum review in a specialist mental health clinic.
Wow.
And then women who screen positive are managed by psychologists, case managers, and they have sort of particular pathways. In the Netherlands, perinatal mental health is considered part of standard care. And so also because of the substantial migrant population in the Netherlands, that obstetric care is culturally based as well. So it's not a one size fits all. So they need to do that. But the problem is that screening without changing the capacity for care is dangerous. You need more beds.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
need more. You were saying that your psychologist was away and you couldn't get in to see them.
Yeah.
That's really dangerous. And then you end up at the public system and you have to be really unwell to go into the public mental health care system. And that's kind of not really a place for a new mum, a public psych ward.
No, it's definitely not.
And I think that for me, there needs to be, when you leave hospital, when they come and they check you've got your baby seat and all of that, they also need to do like an Edinburgh screening, that the postnatal classic screening that they do. They need to do that and go, okay, Kate's looking a bit funky. Like I was clearly really unwell when I left Monash, when I had my daughter, and at no point, it was actually my maternal child health nurse, who was an older woman, who went, you know how she knew I was depressed? I walked in with a whole face of makeup and the baby and nothing else. And then I put her down, have to undress them, and she weed because the cold air hits them.
Yeah.
And she said, "I'll just get her changed." And I said, I didn't bring anything. She went, "Oh, your mask is massive. You've got a full face on and there's nothing behind the eyes."
Yeah.
And I went, "Hello."
Yeah.
God.
9 days after I had Savannah, I had a C-section and I was dressed with makeup, hair done. We were going out for walks. I was trying to have people come visit.
Yeah.
And I was just I have to look like I'm put together. I just have to this is how I'm coping. Like I have to look like I'm
fake it till
good.
you make it,
Yeah.
except you weren't making it.
Yeah.
But I feel like for women, it's so ingrained in us to perform,
Yeah.
right? It's so ingrained in us to perform the femininity and looking beautiful and all of those things, and you feel like you have your shit together. And it's so often the complete fucking opposite.
Yeah. And the comments be like, I put up a photo of me with the pram and it was like the comments, oh, how do you look so good just after having a baby? It's like that's all you can see is
Because
how
I'm dead
look.
inside.
Yeah. Because there's nothing going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think your story, and thank you for sharing it with us, and I think it's going to resonate with a lot of mums who have been through it or who are going through it. You are the map for what is possible. And you asked for help. You told the truth. You did the meds. You did the work. You were vulnerable. You still had to fight your way through. You are pregnant with your second one. You know what you're doing. I mean, the lesson here isn't that you need to be strong. The lesson is that we need better systems and we need more compassion and conversations. Motherhood can be really beautiful, but it's also quite brutal.
Yeah.
And if you need help, please reach out. We're going to put numbers at the bottom: Beyond Blue, Lifeline, your GP, Panda. You'll find a link and resources for today's notes. And thank you to everyone who is doing the work and who's helping people like Eden and myself.
Thank you.
We loved having you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. Boy.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't care what you say.